Coach Prisk has retired from coaching football. He retired in 2007 after coaching at North Farmington 4 years, Houghton Lake 11 years, and at Traverse City West for 11 years. He retired after 26 years of coaching. In those 26 years, Coach Prisk never had a losing season. Most humorous incident in coaching. There were several in 26 years. Some we cannot talk about. We will leave it to your imagination. Enjoyment and humor kept the job fun. Coach Prisk's biggest thrill in coaching, starting the football program from day one, from ground up at Traverse City West, when Traverse City split into 2 public schools in 1997. Hiring staff, buying all new equipment, and convincing kids to come to West. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Hall of Fame, Coach Matt Prisk.
Kelly, all I know is 20 years ago when we used to play each other, I didn't have to wear these to read a speech. That's a concern here. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the Coaches Association for nominating me into the Hall of Fame and putting on this great evening. This whole process for me has been a very humbling experience, but it certainly provided an opportunity for me to reflect on the game that fashioned my life and my family's lives for many years. You don't get to stand here without the help, love, and support of many people. Realistically, thousands of people over the 37 years that I played and coached football. The game football teaches us from day one, it's not about you, it's about us. And I was a very lucky man to have so many great people around me and on my team. I would like to thank and introduce my wife, Kim. You need to stand now, dear. Supposed to stay standing. Most of us understand that being the wife of a football coach, especially a head football coach, is not necessarily an enjoyable thing at times. But I can say that I had constant love and support even on the evenings or weekends that I did not deserve it. And I was very fortunate to have her all these years and be just a constant supporter of what we did as a family. And I'll tell you this, on Friday nights you wanted Kim in your stands. You would not know it by looking at her physical features, but there were many times that she would not even think twice about looking at a mom or dad that was making a fool out of themselves and explaining to them that these kids were out there trying to do their best. And that's really all that mattered. I married a very, very strong woman, and I've always admired that, dear. Thank you, and I am a very lucky man to have been married to you for 29 years. I'd like to thank my daughters, Ann and Audrey, who were not supposed to be here this evening, but miraculously when I walked in our hotel room today, they were there. My oldest daughter is an ensign in the Navy. She's on the destroyer Roosevelt. I'm not really sure how she made this work, but I'm very proud and happy to have her here. My youngest daughter is a junior at Point Park University in Pittsburgh, and I'm just thrilled to death that they could make it. They're 2 of the greatest gifts in my life, so thank you, ladies. I'd also like to thank my older brother, Jim, who came all the way from Texas today to be here. My brother coached high school and college football for over 25 years in the state of Michigan, and he's always been a great influence in my life. I knew early on in high school, probably my sophomore year, that I wanted to follow in his footsteps and coach because I was always so impressed with him. When my brother retired from coaching, he became my stat guy, and as a head coach, you know how important that is. For the last 16 years of my coaching career at West, he drove my dad to every football game we ever played. Didn't matter where that was, UP, Detroit, didn't make any difference. He always made sure my dad got there. He chauffeured Dad all over the state when he could no longer drive himself. He did this because he knew how much our dad loved the game of football and the men and boys who coached and played it. Those of you that knew my dad knew how much he wanted to be here tonight, sitting with you, telling stories, laughing, and carrying on. He knew about my induction, but he left us for a better place to join our mother in December this year. Or last year, excuse me. I'm sure he's watching and very proud of his family tonight. And, sorry, this is kind of a tough one here. I'd really like to thank my parents for their unending support of my career, my coaches, and my players. My sister Lori is also here tonight. She understands and loves the game of football, but I'm pretty sure growing up in our household, she didn't have any choice. She has a son, Ben, who was an outstanding player at Frankenmuth High School. I was fortunate in 26 years to have worked with some of the greatest coaches and players anybody could ask for. Many of those people are here tonight, and I want them to understand how much it means to me that they made the effort to get here. A couple of these guys I need to mention because they were my right-hand men at the two places that I was a head coach. Jerry Andrews was my D coordinator at Traverse City West for 16 years. I'll always remember the night I was named the head coach, and I got a phone call from a nutcase guy that told me he was going to be my D coordinator. How could I turn him down? Hence his nickname, Nuts. The other gentleman is Ken Warner. Ken was my D coordinator at Houghton Lake. These two men are fine examples. They're the kind of people you want to coach your kids. They become much more than assistants to me. They're lifelong friends. There's a lot of former players here tonight, kids that I'm incredibly proud of. They're teachers, coaches, athletic directors, physicians, and people trying to chase professional football careers. I'm incredibly proud of these men, and they're just they're the reason why we coach. You know, to watch kids develop into people like this. In closing, I want to say one thing to those of you that are still in the profession. Never forget why you coach. Never forget the impact you have on young people. Somebody's always watching you, and they're always going to be impressed with the way you handle yourselves. Try not to compromise ever. Understand why you coach, the real reasons why you coach, and never do it for anything other than that. Thank you very much.